Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Live from Saturn. Today we are going to be going over a audiobook or regular book called The Majestic 311. My name is Frank Perrine.
Cody Decker.
Duncan Gale. Yes, so we will be going over The Majestic 311 by Keith C. Blackmore, who is a contemporary author. He's written a lot of stuff. Not that much information about him on the web. Literally, if you look him up on Amazon, his author bio just says something like, I figured just my family and friends are going to find me here, and there's not really any info on me. Just check out my blog.
Well, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, he does live in Newfoundland, so that much I was able to find. And he's written a lot of interesting sort of dark fantasy and horror series. He also did Breeds, which you guys covered.
That is easily my favorite werewolf story.
Easy.
Okay.
Which was why I was a little off guard by my opinions of this story.
But it's still it's kind of weird. Had the same fate. But this was a fan.
Yeah, this was a fan recommendation. So you're just found it too. You thought I was maybe in a bit of a pickle. Mm-hmm. Diego Alvarado says, and Majestic 311, OMG, so crazy. And if you're like, that's all it took for us to look good?
Yep.
That's all it took. And which, my opinion on fan recommendations are a little, because the thing is, it's not like, I'm still in the mindset of manga a little, where it'll be like 3 chapters, sometimes 300. Most of the time it's like 3 chapters. But when it's a book, it's like, 20 hours.
Right.
I'm just
be invested.
I have to be invested.
Well, yeah, I mean, without revealing anything about my thoughts about this book, I do agree with his assessment. OMG, so crazy. Yes. So far, in complete agreement. Yep.
So the synopsis of the book, let me go over really fast, is that it takes place, I guess, would be, what year would you think?
Late 1800s, early 1900s.
Cowboy times.
Yeah.
So there's a group of bandits, robbers, or whatever, and they have an idea to raid or steal a bunch of money from a train that's bringing money from Canada to pay miners and different things like that. So they get on top of this mountain, and they jump on the train and rob the train. But they actually jump on the wrong train, which is the Majestic 311, and that's where the fun starts.
Yeah. And this the synopsis, I love it. I'm like, that's an interesting concept. I have total faith in the author. And one of the highlights was them talking about the train, and this my movie mind was going like in the trailer when they're going this isn't a normal train, this is some sort of crazy train. And in the movie trailer, the noises the train makes, like chugga chugga chugga, that's going to start syncing with dunna 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 and then so it's a ghost train, which is what you think it is.
Well, you think it's a ghost train,
and this is the issue. I don't know if I was in a different mindset, or this isn't the kind of story you can just like casually listen to, because I would sort of like daze out of focus, and I come back and it's not just a ghost train anymore, and I'm like, I don't know what I missed, but this story is insane.
Yeah. I'll be straight out. I loved it. The reason I loved it is because it reminded me a lot of The Dark Tower by Stephen King, where the worlds are all connected and they're dimensional, and it's different dimensions and different times, and that it just amazed me. It was great.
And that's because for me, like I need templates in my head for everything. Anytime it's like, it's like this, like, can you give me an example? Like, what type? What do you mean? So when I'm going through this, I'm like, I haven't experienced a story like this before. Yeah. So I'm like, whenever that happens, my brain's like so focused on trying to categorize it.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, it's a ghost story. I know those. It's not a ghost story. Hold on. Now I need to recontextualize everything. And I'm not keeping up with the train. The train's still going.
Right.
And I'm off board.
Well, a good example is like even a movie like that is Jacob's Ladder.
I haven't seen that.
You've seen Jacob's Ladder?
No, I haven't. I'm
an older movie.
Just familiar with the Huey Lewis song.
Does he matter? Anyway, so Jacob's Ladder is about this crazy movie, and it's all like kind of in and out of like a dreamscape, and all these things happen to this guy, and it basically is his mind 10 minutes before he's dying in Vietnam. This whole movie that you just saw.
Oh,
wow.
An incident at Owl Creek.
Yeah, and occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Well,
Close.
I was almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's weird. This movie, I mean, this book is a lot like that, interdimensional time traveling, and it's all stuck within this train. And so they go through, of course, different doors, different times.
Yeah, it's like each car they go through
Correct.
takes them through different time period,
Yes.
like different worlds.
Different worlds. Yep.
And it is like, and they're still the whole time just being like, we just need to get this money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had a hard time following the plot of this, but maybe that's the point. But I did really appreciate the sort of characterization, like all of these different guys.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, and I mean, and they're sort of a classic group of bandits. Like there's the stoic leader. There's the like smart guy. There's the guy who's always running off his mouth, who might be played by Steve Buscemi in a movie or something.
That's when I would get back in whenever the characters had their moments. And this author is like great at like if you ever check out the Breed series.
Character development is great.
He will like there is at one point like the fourth Breed's book where he just bumps into like a homeless guy. And they just spend like 2 chapters together, and it was like this like beautiful. And then he is just like, I have to go now, and they're like, all right, bye.
Yeah.
And it was just like I was like in tears. I was like, this is so emotional.
Yeah, kind of like the male guy in this one.
Yeah.
He was in it real quick, and that was it. The only thing that I didn't like about it was he has such a great ability to build characters, and you to believe them, but just like Breeds. Here's this guy, dead wolf, all this stuff's happening, and he decides to go check the barn, I mean, and some of the decisions you're like, okay, that's not realistic. And I get it, it's part of the storytelling, but no normal person would have done that. And it's the same thing in the fact that you have guys from that time period, and I think they would be more like flipped out in some of the things that happen in this train.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there is like a great part where, when things first start really going haywire, like you kind of get this sort of inner thoughts of the guys. They're like, well, we're all like professional criminals, so we just need to like keep our shit together.
That was good. Yeah, he's like, if someone flips out, they get killed.
Yeah, exactly.
So we want everyone to stay cool.
Let's just chill out, everyone. We'll figure it out. There was and they gets to a moment where they're dealing with like, oh, this is a nano translator thing, and it's going to translate other languages for you. And it felt very like I thought like I still have the I just heard that like Dirk Gently is getting another adaptation, so like that was in my brain. So like when it gets to that part, I'm like I was like, are they in space right now? Because I was also like, I'm not sure exactly what's happening.
Right.
Because
it's totally different worlds. So but what's funny is that some of those things, like they said in the end, make sure nothing follows you, because some of the things we're moving through those worlds,
right?
And like that whole part was great when it turns out that they look like an extinct species because they were eaten.
Right.
I mean, that it was great. It was I thought it was cool. The only thing I didn't like about it is here's a guy that sees a chick with 6 breasts, and all of a sudden they don't have a problem with that. He's like totally cool with that.
Yeah.
That's I would expect that later on for them to like kind of start adapting to it.
You see how they like
their
journey through like being like, oh, are we gonna rob these ghosts?
Right. Well, it's funny. Yeah, they're like, after all that, you're like, are we gonna rob them?
Yeah.
Really, did. But it was kind of cool because it takes the whole like dimensional and time travel thing into aspect, in the fact that some of the worlds, it was almost exactly the same, but the people had one eye. And it's funny, towards the end they're talking about being on kind of like a bullet train. There's people in shorts and they're explaining things, but they have one eye and 4 fingers, and I really enjoyed that, because it was like in the beginning it was kind of like a ghost train, and then it adapted into a whale and adapted into all these different things.
Yeah, that was the part where I was like listening to it. I'm like, oh, are they robbing? Like, I thought they were like monsters because they're doing it's like a classic stick up, and the guy's like making fun of all the hoes, like, oh, look at you, old timer, you got the got the gold, and then they all like get like elongated faces and start like screaming as like, oh, it's like monsters, and then they're like, oh, we're in a space whale now, and like there's a guy who's like bonded to the whale who's like, I don't even want to leave. Yeah, and I was like, what the when did that happen?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And the way they all react, like, look, we're just trying to get the gold.
Yep.
Is there gold in this whale?
Yeah, but he was the original conductor of the train.
Right.
And he had now bonded with this serpent, which was the way. And that's, like I said, it gets really crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, it gets,
and
you got to take it for what it is, and take it. I mean, all of us have seen multiverse movies now. All of us seen that. It's similar to something like that.
It's like
I mean, I was just going to say, as crazy as things get, though, at least one of the guys still has a sort of frame of reference for it, because like. They talk about flashbacks he has to his mom reading him the story of Alice in Wonderland, and he's like, well, actually, I've heard this story before. I mean, we're just going
down the rabbit hole.
I like that dialogue too, where the other guy's like, what do you mean a rabbit hole? He's like, I don't know, it means you went somewhere, and like, why a rabbit hole? Like, I don't know why. That's just the term they use. I really like the flashbacks too, because like it is like this isn't a silly story.
No.
And it is like there's like this crazy stuff happening, but then you'll get flashbacks to him, like just like his mom telling him a story. I'm like, it just feels very genuine about what it's doing.
Now, do you know when this book was written?
I think it was pretty recent, like within the last 3
so I mean,
4 years.
it totally. If you listen to the Stephen King Black Tower, tons of references. I mean, the Man in Black, and there's a point where the Man in Black and the gunslinger goes through different dimensions. I mean, even goes through a dimension with giant crabs, which I was like, what? I mean, just totally like the same thing. And the different worlds. And the Man in Black actually tells him that that this world that he's on is just a drop of water on a blade of grass that's dying in another universe. And so it just totally brings up these different quantum physics kind of things. So the book did a lot of that, which I totally was cool with, because I've listened to books like that. So I just adapted to it, and I thought it was really cool.
Okay, well, yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, like the crab thing was a reference to Dark Tower, because otherwise that was really sort of like bizarre. But that often happens, that like when you see something, or you're reading something that seems like, wow, where did this come from? And then it turns out, oh, well, actually that's just a reference to something else that you didn't know about. It's like, okay, well, that makes sense.
Fun.
And like I said, the Dark Tower was so similar, and him chasing the Man in Black through different dimensions and different times, and so it was really cool.
I do think this would be a very fun movie.
You would have to take out a lot.
Well, yeah. A lot of the train segments would be gone.
I think it would be a great movie if you stuck with the first, 10, 11 chapters. When it was all the ghosts and demons and stuff, that would be cool. And actually make it a train that is like going to hell or something. That would be that would be cool.
Which we can, that's ours now.
Yeah. But when they start getting into the whole whale thing, and, you're like, oh my goodness.
And I'm like,
and then the whalers actually trying to cut him out of the whale and hearing their voices and stuff. That got a little crazy.
I am still not sure what when I got to the end, I was like, I feel like that was satisfying.
Well, because it's like, is it reincarnation? What is it?
Yeah, it ended on like.
Is it this little kid's dream?
Was this still a flashback? Or because I don't know.
Well, no, it's not a flashback, because they talk about. They're in an SUV.
Oh.
So this is probably a reincarnation issue.
Yeah, and then it's because, like, well, that other guy kind of got this ending too, but that was while they were still on the train.
Right. And that's how he got off the train, was being reincarnated into this child.
Oh, okay.
Wow. That was my take in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because when I heard what the explanation for what happened to the train was, I honestly was like, I'm kind of glad I stuck through here.
Yeah.
Because I would tell people, like, oh, that's like, no, that is a very fun answer. And it's like, it sounds like it's cliche, but the reality is it hasn't been done. before.
No.
And when we're almost approaching where we can talk about spoilers. So yeah, well, before we do, this is generally, would you recommend this, or who would you recommend it to?
I would recommend it to the fellas that maybe like that time traveling kind of thing, that dimensional kind of thing, and robbing trains.
Because they never stop trying to rob the train.
They never stop trying to rob the train. Even after going through a squid.
Which is one of the highlights.
Right.
Yeah. They don't go well, geez, I guess we got
it. Through all that, they're in another time, and they're like, well, are we going to rob it? That was great.
By the way, this narrator I'm familiar with, R.C. Bray, he narrates the Helldiver series, which I did not like the first book at all. But I loved it ever since, and I'm on book 9 now, which is one of those things where it's I don't know how to tell people about this series, because it's
I tried to muscle through the first one when you told me, and I just can't get past it.
No, I hated it. Yeah. I hated the first book, but I had nothing else to listen to at work. So I was like, all right, and then by the end I was like, I'll check out the second one. Now I love it. One of my favorite series. But it's no, I don't think the first one was good. But R.C. Bray, love that narrator.
Right on,
he has a very he has a heart to him.
Yeah, it's like a girlfriend. I just block out the rest of it. I can't get past it. I just started. I really tried the first year, and then, dude, it's all a blur.
Who would you recommend this to, Dunk?
Yeah, I think I would recommend this to any sort of very open-minded person who was just willing to kind of go with the flow of all kinds of
stay on the track,
crazy things happening, which is somebody who's not necessarily me. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, an interesting thing about sort of doing this podcast in general is that a lot of the things we cover are maybe not necessarily things that are like my thing per se, but I can still admire the craftsmanship of it, and I think this is one of those things where it's there's cool stuff in it, the characters and stuff, but in terms of the overall story, I did get a little lost myself, but some people can really go with that, and that's cool.
And by the way, don't forget to comment. Subscribe, and here's a comment, and it's a question. Have you played Nier Automata? Sexy robots aside, there are some intense philosophical quandaries in robot cults I think you'd get a kick out of. That's by Techno Tengu.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
I have not played Nier Automata, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
I sometimes for games, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to play that, and I'll watch the cutscenes.
Okay.
And other stuff.
Fair enough.
And, you play games. You didn't play Nier Automata?
No. It's funny, the age difference, like what you just said.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna watch cutscenes, right?
Right.
When we had to spend hours on PlayStation 1 on Tomb Raider just to get out of a room because there was no other reference. You didn't have couldn't go online and text people and how do you get out of this room? No, you spent hours trying to figure out how to get out of this pit in Tomb Raider 1.
I mean, you would talk to kids on the playground and be like, that's a level in Legend of Zelda. Did you get through it?
Games now. Legitimately 10-hour movies. I haven't bought a single Mortal Kombat game, but I watch the cutscenes of them every time it comes out. I treat it like a movie release.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It's you try it out. You're like, I'm not going to game. I'm too busy talking to girls. Well, why don't you just watch some cutscenes? Mm-hmm. That's a comment I saw when I was 12.
Oh, I was going to say, is this you?
No,
I was going to say, wait a minute, dude.
No,
we're almost on I was waiting for we're almost on the 311 here.
I was waiting for this game Infamous 2 was going to come out, and then I'm just watching all these releases for it, all these articles, and this guy left this comment and says I don't care, I'm fine. All the comments I can't wait for it to come out. This comment was just I'm fine with waiting. I'll just talk to girls until the game comes out, and that is burned into my brain as I don't like you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not good.
Also, the whole time it comes out in 2 years.
Yeah.
So what does he mean? I need to talk to girls?
What do you mean? There's nothing else. This is it. All right, spoiler zone. Who has a noise? All aboard the spoiler train?
I don't have a noise.
Mm-hmm. Dun it.
I mean, yeah.
Dun it. Dun it.
That's good. That's good.
We're having fun here at Live from Saturn.
That's right.
I don't even know what this. I'm gonna full spoilers. The answer for what happened.
Yes,
I absolutely loved. And Duncan, if you had to guess what caused this interdimensional time traveling train to be, what do you? It is a 3-word answer for what caused it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What could you possibly think it was?
Loss of service. I don't know. Cody's dying over.
That was a good guess. The answer is a wizard's curse.
Yes.
Okay.
And that kind of threw me off. Yeah. I admit that kind of threw me off.
Yeah.
You know, because how they bring it up, you're thinking, oh, you're going to get this big answer.
Yeah.
You're going to get this crazy answer. And you don't.
He's just like, I didn't realize my granddaughter was on it. Mm-hmm. And like, how long have you been doing this? Like, and they're like, he's like, I'm not going to ask him why he did or anything. I don't particularly care. He's like, can you undo it? They shot him.
Yeah.
this wizard cursed the train. And he was like, oh, my daughter's on it. I need to go get her. And he's been stuck in eternity on this infinity train.
Yeah.
Shout out to the show Infinity Train. And then these train robbers shoot him. And he's like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I would love, in my movie mind, when the golden tendrils come out and he crushes the lizard people. I would love to see that. That was intense.
Yeah. Very... I really just had no frame of reference for this story. And every time something happens, I'm like, I could have never guessed that was going to be how this scene ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I love the way that he adapted. I mean, he thought this out because there were some aspects in different trains and different places that were like so almost like us. Mm-hmm. And it was just a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Right. The society did the exact same thing, but a little bit different.
It's a train that went on a different track.
Yeah. And so that was really cool. Not so much the monsters and stuff, but the people and different things like that.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Like even when they end up in that whole futuristic one where they get the translators. I mean, it was cool because it wasn't like you would think. I automatically thought, okay, everyone's going to be against them. They're the humans. Let's take them out. And it wasn't. It was just like normal. It's just like, oh, dude, you look like a race of people that got ate and went extinct. I mean, that was just such a crazy thing, you know.
When I started like being getting back on board the crazy train was when it's like one of the train robbers is like they end up on like this like farmland. And like the elderly couple is like, well, we like that boy. He's welcome to stay. And the guy's like, I'd love to stay. And at first I was like, where is this going? This is really like, you can stay however long you want. And I'm like, where are you guys going with this? Yeah. But then he's like, and they're like, no, see, I used to live with my grandparents. And they lived on a farm. And they told me that their children are coming to visit soon. And he's like, and they're like, and the guy's like, this could be like a trap.
Yeah.
This could be some like weird mental prison we're in. Right. I know like what Alice in Wonderland was. This could be that. He's like, I have to try. It's worth it. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, all right. I like that thing I always enjoy, which is the other members are like, all right, but you're keeping your share.
Right.
Because they...
Oh, yeah. Business first.
Yeah. And there's the greedy one who's like, why are we going to give him a cut? But the guy's like, I'm leaving. He's like, well, all right, you keep your cut. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what accent. I was trying to do a southern accent. It went everywhere.
They did.
I'm not going to...
These guys are Canadian.
Yeah, these guys are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, you'll keep your cut.
That's Irish. That's Irish. Oh, boy.
I can't do it.
Oh, boy.
Well, imagine a world. What if we got on a train where I can maintain an accent for longer than a syllable?
That'd be crazy.
Even such a place.
You'd need a wizard.
Yeah.
A wizard's curse.
Yeah. But for me, I like that. I liked how some people, I get it. It's all over the board, but me, and it was interesting for me how the train itself was a thing. Mm-hmm. You know, I dug that. I thought that was cool. Right. You know, how it would like just do different things, you know, and then they would, move out of a door and then they're in a different world, or they would look out the window and see a green sun with flowers, and it was cool.
Yeah, there was one of the parts towards the end where they just see like dragons majestically flying, and they're all at this point they're pretty much like, yeah, we're like, oh yeah, that's the thing that happened. That's a nice view too. Yeah, and like look at them just flying, and they realize it's not just dragons, it's dragon riders, and it's just another universe's version of the train robbers. And now it's like another group of train robbers jump on it from a different dimension, and it's like the only people that jump on this train are people trying to rob it.
And it was like. It had a sci-fi aspect to it. They had magnetic boots and and all. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, might this make even better of a video game than a movie?
Because a video game would be
different stages. Yeah,
video game would be great.
Yeah, that makes way more sense. Yeah. You don't have to cut anything in a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can go through all the different things in it.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
Almost reminded me of what's the movie where they go out in space? It's with Mcconaughey.
Interstellar.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're on that planet. It's a water planet, nothing, with this giant wave that comes through every 20 minutes. It was like that. Go to another world and there's nothing.
Right.
But when the sun goes down, all these crabs come up, and you're thinking, well, what do they eat?
Yeah, that's all.
There's that many crabs. How are they going to survive? See, I think like that. I'm like, really, all those that population, how is it going to survive?
It's so crazy how hard it is to find a logical ecosystem in any thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's always just like it's a giant monster. It's like, well, that needs a lot of food. Like,
right? How
shut
it. Yeah. Like you're going to put Predator down on a planet.
Yeah. What is he?
You have all these predator meat-eating things on this planet. What are they eating?
Yeah, it's like in every movie where a good guy is on where it's like a giant alien monster, and like it's like chasing him, and it's like, all right, that's a lot of calories it's expending. It's not going to get that much energy back from this prey. There's no reason for it to be pursuing this tiny thing. Like you're not going to chase an ant being like, I need that food. What were we talking about?
And it kind of makes you even think like Jurassic Park. Here's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Would it really eat you?
Yeah, it wouldn't. I don't know. Yeah, there's no reason it would go and be going after the other dinosaurs.
The dead ones.
Yeah,
they say they were scavengers.
Yeah, because they're all just birds.
Wow, I don't know about that. But that's
now, someone told me a joke about Interstellar that I love, and no one else has liked this joke.
Oh, let's hear it.
This was a gentleman, Andrew, I met in a theater class I took in college, where I did not fit in. And his joke was, it's Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. And spoilers for Interstellar. And wait, who can do a Matthew McConaughey accent? Voice.
All right.
That's why I love black holes. The Earth gets older, and I stay the same age. Yes, I do.
That's funny. I mean, that's really almost.
Now that's funny.
That's really more of a Dazed and Confused. I mean, you have to know Dazed and Confused.
Yes. Now that is a good joke. I like that.
I laughed to myself, Andrew. I still think about you. That has been 10 years, and I still think about that joke.
Good joke.
Or however long I was in college. I don't know. I'm getting up there in years.
Right. You keep on getting up there in years, but some of the references that we laugh at. You've never heard in your life.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother thing.
It's real education. Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing.
Duncan, have you experienced a world hopping story before?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. That the only thing I can think of offhand is an episode of Captain N, the Game Master. Yet another reference you're probably not going to get.
No idea. You could be making this up.
Frank may not know that. This is very specific to my generation.
Yes, I don't even know this.
Yeah, it was a cartoon about a guy who got sucked into a Nintendo world, and there was one episode where they were going to a bunch of different worlds.
I really like this dynamic we have, where at least one of us is always completely out of the loop of something that was like very influential.
Yeah, some crazy reference.
Oh, I've got. There was also an episode of Family Guy where Brian and Stewie were going to different universes and stuff.
Yeah, this is like imagine if in Multiverse of Madness, instead of it being a 1 second clip, they actually explored each of those multiverses.
Yeah.
And I like how in this book you really start thinking of. I mean, they go through 200 cars, and you're like, "Is that 200 worlds? It could be, of course." Yeah. And then I really like the fact where they run into the mail guy, and he thinks he's been there for 150 years.
Yeah,
when the train only disappeared 10 years ago.
Right.
And he's basing it off of like how many times he's fallen asleep because there's no way of keeping track.
Right. And then you become part of the train.
Yeah.
You know, so you stop eating, you stop drinking, and you just become part of the train.
If you this author for you dunkheads out there, he's very good at these like realistic scenes. Like a lot of like, especially in Breeds, you can tell he like there's like a fight scene at a mall, and you can tell he went to a mall and he went like, oh, there's a thing there, there. I'm gonna do this, and he cool. You can really tell he goes to places and was like, I'm gonna write a scene here, and that's why all the scenes feel very real. Yeah, and then especially with them like dealing with the fact that there's no toilet paper.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a genuine example of how this writer always mentions those little things.
Now, did it surprise you after reading Breeds, which I love so much? This is like a totally different.
I thought, that's why.
Spin, totally different. It doesn't even seem like he would write a book like this. Yeah,
this is very like that's why I was so confused too. Is like Breeds, which is well, it makes sense. I didn't know where he was born, but basically in what did you say, Newfoundland?
Yeah.
In a small retirement town, like a bunch of werewolves attack this like where the youngest person is 40.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
and it's just like in the middle of a snowstorm. How do these people deal with it? And here are a bunch of characters coming in, each with their own thing, and it's a very condensed story, and it is simply we need to do this, and then they do it.
Yeah,
right.
And that was where I was going in with this, which is not what this.
No.
They, being train robbers, they do have a very clear goal, which is to get money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Even as they're talking to like someone who's merged with a space whale spirit.
Yeah.
And is like, no, I'm fine.
Now the original.
And then they talk to another guy who like wants them to just shoot him because he can't do it anymore.
Right. And the original, I mean, the book takes place. Of course, you have cowboys, right? It takes place in the West and things like that. So the original title was supposed to be the Peyote Chronicles.
Is that true?
And that's why it's so mystical and crazy. No, it's not true. I just made that up.
It makes
it makes sense though.
It's like Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football. Every time.
I kind of saw you shaking your head.
But it makes sense.
That makes more sense than Majestic 311.
I know. Especially when the hardest part, let's be honest, the hardest part in the book that really got kind of crazy, which was in the kind of beginning, middle, was the whole whale thing. That was, if he took that whole thing out, it would have been better. For me. And I liked it. I enjoyed it, but it would have been better.
Yeah. I was wondering, like, is there any kind of like reference to like Moby Dick here? Like, are we supposed to like think of that or at all? Like a guy loses his identity inside a whale or something. But yeah, I don't know.
Or
that's all I got.
Or like Bobbit, he loses something.
Right. I don't know who Bobbit
is. We were talking about Moby Dick. So
is he in Moby Dick? Oh, who's Bobbit?
John Bobbit.
Yeah.
He was a guy whose wife.
Oh my God!
Cut off his.
Jesus, Frank.
Member. Yeah.
I did.
All right. Yeah. See, that's why when you're trying to remember, like trying to think about what is there like a theme here where they.
Yeah.
They are just trying. They just want to rob the train. They never change their mind. One guy is like, "Oh, I've been like given like the train is maybe speaking to me and it's offering me an escape." And I was like, "Why aren't the other people being given?"
Well, but they all wanted to get off the train.
Yeah,
and even when they went up to try to get off the train and it was just in space, which I thought of for some reason. I thought of the Soul Train. I went and I just pictured it out in the middle of nowhere, But they all wanted to get off the train. But then again, they were just in the end. It's like all of them were just almost accepting that they're never going to get off the train. So So I don't know if there's a spoiler for this book.
Outside of a wizard did it, which even saying that sounds like I'm joking.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So you don't even have to take. You don't. Maybe I'm lying.
Right.
Because I mean, if you heard like hearing that, what were your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, speaking of somebody, who didn't quite get through this book, hearing a wizard did it, it's not personally satisfying to me. Maybe there's a way that they say it in the book that makes it better. But I mean, full disclosure here. I'm a college professor, so I mean, I like for my students to be upfront when they haven't done all of the work, and so I'll just say that. I tried getting through the audiobook, and I couldn't quite get through it myself. So that's where I'm coming from here. I was like, okay, they're in a whale. They're being attacked by crabs. Six-eyed lady. Did I miss something?
Yeah, you missed the wizard did it.
Did I miss something?
Missed that.
Yeah, that's a valid alternate title for this, which is Did I Miss Something?
Yeah. I mean, I just want to start using that line.
A wizard
Who did this? Wizard did it.
A wizard did it.
Wizard did it.
Yeah.
I was like, when I heard what the answer was, I like pulled over. I was driving. I pulled over. I was like, I just soaked that in. I was like, that is so funny. And it was played. It wasn't played as a joke.
No.
It was a very somber moment that actually was genuine.
Which is kind of cool in the aspect of it, because the story didn't even match that. You never thought in your wildest dreams that it would be just, Wizard of Oz guy. Yeah, I screwed up.
Shouldn't have done that.
You mentioned that it was something that had never been done before, but I hate to break it to you, but there was an episode of The Simpsons. Yeah, this is once again the Simpsons did it. There was a Treehouse of Horror episode where Lucy Lawless was in it. She was appearing at a convention as Xena, warrior princess, and all of these fans were like asking her questions about it, and she was like, "The answer is a wizard did it." To like any of your questions about like continuity or like something weird that happened in the TV show.
Wizard did it.
Yeah, wizard did it. Wizard did it.
I like. Yeah, they did that for Itchy and Scratchy too. Yeah. When Homer becomes a voice actor.
Homer is just like, "What are you talking about, you idiot?" And that's how he's silenced. Yeah.
I like the one where they just do the Lord of the Flies episode where they get on an island and the narrator's just like, and eventually they were rescued by
let's say Mo.
And it just ends. So imagine if that Simpsons episode they then showed you that wizard's whole backstory.
Right.
Not his whole backstory.
Great.
But they show you his like real like heart and soul and his like last final dying moments. And he's like, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think, the only reason I think I enjoyed it the most is because, like I said, the Dark Tower and different books I've read, and I kind of got the feel right when it started changing. I'm like, okay, I get it, and then I was more interested in where it was going. I mean, the wizard was a little disappointment, but
what were your thoughts on the reveal on the wizard did it? It kind of for me cheapened the whole book because I'm thinking in my mind, time travel and different things and quantum physics and all these different things, and that's where I was going with the different dimensions and time, and then all of a sudden, no, it has nothing to do with that, stupid. It's a wizard,
right?
And I went, okay, that's stupid. I was just like, yeah, that's kind of dumb.
Could it have been a train from the future that entered a wormhole?
Yes, it could have been anything like that, and that would have been better for me.
The wizard doing it, a wizard's curse, is interesting because it's like, it does. There can be no plot holes in a story where the wizard did it.
Right.
That is with any issues in the story, it is like, well, that was part of the wizard's curse.
Right, and maybe that's what he did. Maybe he's just like, dude, man, I screwed this book up. How am I going to end it? I thought aliens. I thought, maybe a dimensional wormhole. screw it, I'm gonna have to use the wizard.
I'm gonna have to pull out my one-time golden writer's pass.
I'm gonna have to use the wizard. But I still liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I still enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I love his character development. You know, I didn't like they kept on referencing, what Tiny or whatever, his shotgun through the whole book after he died. That was kind of getting old, but always pulling up, Shorty's shotgun. We already know he has Shorty's shotgun, dude. I don't need to know again. But overall, I liked it. I liked it. I give it, and I'd probably give it about 7 cabooses.
Okay. I'll give this. I have no idea what happened. Out of 10.
This is not a dishwasher book.
Yes.
No, definitely not.
This is a book that you cannot casually listen to. You really need to be on attention. You need to.
Yeah.
For me, because I like going into stories blind, but then this is one where it's I probably should have read the synopsis and been oh, what kind of story is this? Because a lot of my brain is just going are they going to get back to the ghosts? Is this a dream sequence because they're being haunted? Oh, okay, we're talking to aliens now. Those are real. The aliens are real.
Right.
They were never ghosts. They were always aliens. Okay. It was. They're gonna get the pirate's gold from the wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping in mind that my assignment was incomplete, I'll give it 6 crabs.
Wow.
6 crabs. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's fair and just. And you better pray your students never listen
Yeah,
to this episode.
I know.
Yeah.
Oof.
They're going to be like, what? And then you could just go, the wizard did it.
Wizard did it.
That's right.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. The wizard helped me complete.
Yeah.
The wizard did it is the Jedi mind trick of plots.
Absolutely.
It's just
and like I said, to your thing, it's a crazy book in the fact that, you could be reading the chapter, grabbing your groceries out, and they're going through, they're in a nice train car, and then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, there's giant crabs and everything. And you're like, okay, what? What just happened there? Oh, wait a minute. You're in a hotel room with only one door, and it's a nice, Yeah, so I can understand that. But I think that's part of what it's all about.
It's that's why it makes more sense in a movie setting for me, just because if it's a movie that's on one track, I can just see a very clear they're going here and following here. When it's the book and they're doing flashbacks and memories and different character focuses, and then I'm okay, it's about where's that guy? Okay, they're talking to a worm, and I don't know. I couldn't tell you how we got from here to here.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got a recommendation from Frank.
I do, yeah, I would.
So,
but just know what you're getting into.
Yeah, if you're a Frank head, check it out. If you like QC Blackmore, I'm going to go ahead and tell you maybe check out Breeds.
Yeah, Breeds is hand down one of the best books.
Check that out.
One of my favorite books of all time. It is my stay October listen to.
Oh, it's such a good story.
And Duncan, I think you're going to be in for a little surprise.
Yeah, you are.
Come Spooktober this year.
Blah, you love it.
I have a little anecdote. About wizards doing it. There is a H.P. Lovecraft story where this guy is cursed. Maybe we're fading out the episode while we go on this, but this guy.
I was like, this isn't sounding good.
This guy, maybe this won't be included. But this guy, his family line has been cursed, where all the men die on their 35th birthday, and they were cursed by a wizard. And he's trying to figure out, what hex was used, how is he doing it, how do I counter this spell, how did they die, in what way, and do you know what that wizard did to make sure they all die when they turn 35?
He got them married. What, am I actually kind of close?
No.
He gave them high cholesterol.
He drank a potion to make himself immortal, and he sort of just hung around, and when they turned 35, he would just stab them.
Okay.
Oh, jeez Louise. Wow.
Wow, that's so creative.
Wow. And it's so much like what we were just talking about. I guess the immortal
Devilishly ingenious.
Wow. Wow.
Would you like
Stabby.
Wow.
Do you know how he's defeated? The guy's just ready for him, so when he comes charging at him, he just beats him up. He wasn't even like super strong. He was just like an old guy who
Was this a short story?
Yeah, this is a short H.P. Lovecraft story. They're not all hits.
And H.P. Lovecraft, so he's considered a classic writer?
Wow.
Is that right?
Yeah, this now, that's a story that I will never forget. That is actually the very first audiobook I listened to was The Complete Works of H.P. Lovecraft.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
That was 3-4 years ago. I will never forget that story. Sometimes the stories end with the person being like, "Oh, that's what happened."
Mm-hmm. Stephen King does that. It builds up and it's a giant moth, and you're like, "Really, really?" But it's a giant spider, dude. I thought it was a clown, right? And dude, that's one of the things about Stephen King that I don't really dig. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that it's beautiful writing, just amazing, and then all of a sudden, it's a giant bat.
Right.
All that for a giant bat? Couldn't you have thought of something crazier than a bat? But that's just me.
All right. Well, anyway, we're gonna go.
We'll definitely subscribe. Send us stuff. Well, thank you for the recommendation.
We'll get to those recommendations. We're gonna rethink some strategies, but we'll get to them.
All right.